about cardboard and expeditions in the classroom. Today we're joined on this Hangout by a few really cool people. We have Joel Solomons from Google joining us from Mountain View, California. Hey, Joel.
Hello.
Great, and you could hit Joel up at the Google Twitter account at Google for EDU if you have any questions, or go ahead and drop questions either in the Q&A box on the Hangout, or you can drop it into the back channel at today's meet, and we'll be sure to get those questions answered by the end of the day. We also have Jessica with us today at Lenore24. You can tweet her. Hi, Jessica. Thanks for joining us.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
So excited to have you and share your experience with expeditions with us today. I'm Wendy Gorton. I'm at Wendy Gorton with EdTechTeam, working with the community here. So excited to be moderating this today for you all. And we have Ari joining with us at EdTech Ari. Hi, Ari.
Hi, everyone.
Great, and everyone is here is a great part of our summit program and presenters, and you'll see them online. So we're really stoked they're here to share their experience with us today. Great, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Joel for a moment to tell us more about what is Google Cardboard, what is Expeditions, and how we can all get involved. And then we'll hear from Ari and Jessica about their experience in the Pioneer program, what it looked like at their school, and what the effects were on their students in their learning. So tell us, Joel, what is this program all about, and how have you been involved?
Cool, yeah, thanks very much, Wendy, for the introduction. So, as you mentioned, my name is Joel Solomons. I'm actually based out of Mountain View, California, but I'm originally from Sydney, Australia. So hopefully you guys can understand my accent. So basically, I'm going to kind of give you a reason, like why Expeditions came about. So, working for the Google for Education team, we're always looking at how to engage students and inspire them to learn through technology. So internally, our education team were looking at what are the most engaging ways for students to learn, and one of them was field trips or school trips. But when we were asking North American schools, 43% of them were looking at actually cutting out field trips from their school, and that's in relation to like cost cutting as well as the logistics involved. So that got our team thinking really hard within Google, because we already had a product called Google Cardboard, if you guys can see this, which is basically literally a piece of cardboard. And it can be used as a virtual reality device. So within Google, we already had this product, and this came out of a 20% project from one of our engineers, where he basically want to make affordable virtual reality. So you can just place any phone in here, and it becomes a virtual reality goggles, kind of like this. So our education team were thinking, we had an internal hackathon, which basically you get a very limited time to come up with a new product. And using the existing Google Cardboard, our education team thought it would be very cool to take schools on virtual field trips. So that was where the idea came around for Google Expeditions. So it builds on existing technology, which is Google Cardboard, and using things called photospheres, which are basically 360 panoramas of situations, and bringing them all together and using them in educational content to make sure that learning is very engaging. So that's how the product came about, basically from a hackathon internally, and now it's grown into a Pioneer program. So basically, we're visiting schools all around the world. I was lucky enough to be able to start this Expedition Pioneer program down in Sydney, Australia. So I got to fly back home, and we visited schools within Adelaide and Sydney and some of the cities within Australia to show this to schools. So I'll let Jess and Ari talk about how it works in the actual classroom. But basically, you have the opportunity here to sign up via this website shown by Wendy, and we'll actually Googlers will come to your school and actually show you how to use Google Cardboard and take your students on a virtual field trip, which is pretty cool. And we're doing that, as I said, all around the world, not just in North America, in the UK, it's still going in Australia as well. But I'll hand it over to Ari and Jess to talk about how this actually works in the class.
Awesome, Joel. Thanks so much. And in the chat, folks, I've put the site that Joel's talking about in our chat so you can access it. But just google.com/edu/expeditions, and from there you can see a little bit more about the Pioneer program and what it looks like when you come, and then the all-important sign-up form, so you can sign up to tell Google that you're interested in getting visited, just like Ari and Jessica had the expeditions come to their school. So check out that site, and then Ari, let's go ahead and see. Ari has a great video of what it looked like when her students and her school were a part of the Pioneer program. Why don't we check that out so we can show people at home what this actually looks like when you're using it in the classroom.
Do you want to go ahead and pull it up on your screen, or do you want to share screen?
Let's see. Do you want to go ahead and share your screen?
Sure.
Great.
All right, here we go.
Perfect. Cool. We see your screen and we hear you. Let's see it. RUSD.
We have the Google Expeditions, and it is taking our students all over the world in places they probably wouldn't be able to get to until they're much older. And even with that, there are some places I think it's taking them that they may not ever get to.
They were able to take a virtual tour of the ocean reef. They got to see amazing animals, an experience that they would have never otherwise been able to experience had it not been for the Google Expedition. They're amazed by what they've seen. They've learned about so many new animals and the environment, biomes that they live in. So it's awesome.
It's beautiful. It's panoramic.
I saw like lots of imaginations. And really cool stuff, a shipwreck and everything.
I saw rain sponges, and I also saw sponges and a school of fish, and I saw a lot of sharks in the ocean.
Well, he was trying to the way that he get really freaked out because a shark was nibbling at you, right? And sharks have, and great white sharks especially have big teeth, so a nibble is really good on that. And then people think they're trying to eat the people, but they're just doing what's called snapple biting. What's it called? Snapple biting. And most of the time, if he realizes he doesn't want to eat a person, right, because he's looking for seals, he'll release them, but then too late. So these are very fearsome sharks, but they're not the most aggressive.
We saw a little ship and it was like underwater because it was part of a war and they didn't want to surrender it. So they just wrecked it and put it underwater.
And I think to just look at a picture in a book, it's not nearly as interactive or exciting as being able to feel like you're there, right in the middle of all action. In fact, I was looking down at the floor in the Grand Mosque and up at the ceiling, and so you can really interact with the environment, and it's something that really will stay with the kids, I think, a lot longer than just looking at something in a book.
Look around and see the fish swimming as if you're scuba diving. So they provide very real experiences.
I think it's great. I think it gives them a sense of curiosity about a world outside their classroom and allows them to start dreaming bigger dreams.
The Google explanation, it kind of helped me think about it. It helped me think and to tell us all the information.
Woohoo! Go Riverside Unified. Very cool. That's really exciting to see it in action, and I loved seeing just how teachers are interacting with it, and can't wait to hear from you, Ari, and Jessica, just what it means for a teacher and what that means for a lesson, and how do you facilitate all the different creative ways that you can facilitate this in the classroom. But I think the little girl said it all, is that it just helped her learn and explore. So really exciting to see that video. Thanks so much, Ari.
Yeah, no problem. Only now I could figure out how to stop sharing my screen.
Perfect. And cool, even just looking at the chat, we had Frank say that he was also visited by the Pioneer team. And his favorite part was the level of teacher involvement from people who would not normally embrace new kinds of technology. So, I mean, would you agree, Ari, that it's kind of a easy to pick up and go? Joel just showed us how easy it was to just throw your phone in there. Was it pretty accessible to new teachers as they were trying it out?
It was extremely accessible. When the Googler comes to your school, there's about a 30-minute getting oriented with the Expeditions program session, and it's very easy to pick up, and all the teachers that are going to be facilitating the Expeditions actually get to go on one of their own first, so that way they can see what the students will be seeing.
Oh, how cool. Awesome, Ari. Well, keep the back channel coming with ideas and questions, guys. I've already seen quite a few great questions that we'll be sure to ask Joel here in a minute. But very cool. Schenectady is where Frank was at for his Pioneer program. So very cool to see it in different parts of the world. Jessica, you're joining us from Connecticut, cold Connecticut. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how the Pioneer program worked at your school? I know that you had great things to share.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to try to sit this entire time. I'm actually really lucky because the first time I actually learned about Expeditions and cardboard was in June when I was in LA for the Google Geotechnical Institute thing, and that's where I signed up for it right away. So everybody watching this right now, make sure you are signing up for Expeditions to come to your school. I actually have a quick little slides presentation to share with you guys. So let me get that pulled up for you guys. And let's share. You tell me what you guys see. You guys see my presentation yet?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, let me get that over there one more time. Are we good?
Yep, you're all good.
Okay, perfect. So really quickly, I teach in Manchester, Connecticut, and these are some of my favorite pictures from the 4 days that we had Google Expeditions come to Manchester Public Schools. So it was right at the end of September, and that was right when Expeditions was like announced. So I found out like on a Wednesday night. I was like just chilling, found out that we were getting Expeditions like 3 days later. And thankfully, I have a superintendent that is very forward-thinking into tech integration, was like, yes, bring Expeditions. So in that 4 days, we took Expeditions to half day to our high school, half day to our 7th and 8th grade school. We spent an entire day in 3 elementary schools. We went to 2 days with our 6th grade academy. It was bananas. It was amazing. And the kids, one of the things that I loved about learning about Expeditions in June was the first thing, and I will never forget this, and your kids will never forget this either, is that we did an underwater street view, and we talked about the issue of like ocean change. And the one quote that like sticks out in my head during that entire thing was, if we engage our kids and use this tech to engage our kids, we can teach the children to teach the world, which I thought was just a remarkable thing. So as we get started, I thought I'd break up this little thing into 3 steps, so to say. And the first thing is, as Expeditions come to your school, you want to, first of all, you want to plan your trip. And it doesn't matter what content you teach. It doesn't matter if it's ecosystems or if you're a high school teacher that teaches career paths, because they actually have expeditions about careers that kids can take and stuff. It's amazing. That is the best part. They have these exotic locations. And because Expeditions is so new still and it's not pushed out to the public, there's some kind of like your teachers are going to be so excited, and there's like kind of like a little level of not stress, but like this nervous anxiousness, because your teachers are going to be able to see almost, it's like a spreadsheet, almost like a menu of all the different expeditions that they have. And you're not going to be able to see the expeditions like way ahead of time, but you're going to be able to pick out which expeditions you want to do. And more of just that wild excitement is going to propel them forward, as Ari was saying. You're going to be able to have some time, like our Google Expeditions leader was a guy named Jose, who was amazing. And Jose came that morning and basically had like a little tutorial with our teachers for like 20 minutes to half an hour, showed us how to use the materials, which he showed us how to use the teacher tablet, and then showed us how the devices and the cardboard work together, and showed us around the expedition apps. But then it was basically Jose stood back. And then our teachers took over, and there was like a little learning curve, period 1, but then it's so easy to kind of learn your way with that. And content-wise, the teachers just kind of picked a destination that looked cool to them, and they went forward. So starting off, it's going to be kind of like, okay, we're just going to get on the ground running, and it's kind of that disruption that it's your kids are learning with the teachers, and it's quite exciting. After you kind of pick your trip and you get kind of familiar with the materials, you get to play the tour guide, and this is a nice little picture of Jose, our Google Expedition leader, having some fun. But so you get your tablet, and in Ari's video, if you're watching, you get to, as the teacher, if you hold onto your tablet and you press down, you get control over your entire expedition. Now, within an expedition, as Joel was saying, there's approximately 7 to 14 or so photospheres, or 360-degree pictures within each expedition. So if you were going to, like, I don't know, picking the Galapagos or whatever the case may be, the teacher gets to choose the picture as it goes along, and the expedition's in a particular order for you, and the teacher moves it along as they see fit. There was one part of Ari's video that was great where the teacher holds down on the screen and a little circle pops up on the like where your finger was holding, and that directs the students, like in their cardboards, there's like an arrow that pops up on their screen and shows the kids where the teacher wants them to look. And then on the teacher tablet, these little smiley faces kind of pop up, and the teacher can tell where the kids are looking, which I thought was really cool. My favorite expedition was the London Eye, because it took you from like outside the streets of London to waiting in line to the top of the London Eye, and the kids were going bonkers for that one. So what I really liked too is I put a quote on the slide deck because the kids will say countless times, "What is that? What is that?" And they're so engaged, and it's just enthralling to hear. So I really enjoy that. So as you're playing tour guide, and you're just going to have the time of your life, and the kids are going to not want to sit in their seats. The final thing that you're going to worry about is, okay, now that we've done this, how can we extend student learning? As soon as your expeditions are kind of over with, you're going to want to have discourse with your students about like what they learned, what they saw, and they're going to just want to talk about it. We had our 6th grade teachers did Google form responses. We had a power hour at our high school where the kids got to talk about it afterwards. So you're going to want to just harness that energy in a way. One of the things that I did with the older students, like our high school, middle schoolers, is I encouraged them, they can download the Street View app. And right now, all of you watching, you should be downloading the Street View app too, because once you download that Street View app, you can take your own photospheres and your own 360-degree photos, and then you can view them within Cardboard. So one of the photos, my very first photosphere is on the right-hand side of the screen. It was when I was at the Google GTI in LA, and this is the Venice Beach Boardwalk, but showing the students where I actually got to stand was really cool. So with this, what your students can do is they can create, obviously, their own 360-degree pictures. There's this thing called Story Sphere. So if your kids are making multiple photospheres, they can upload them to a Story Sphere and make their own expedition kind of thing. There's also lots you can do. I just got my Ricoh Theta 360-degree camera in the mail, and we're going to be taking some more pictures with our students. But one of the things my kids have been doing too is we've been lucky to have some breakout EDU boxes come to my district. So now kids are really starting to get excited, like, can we use the cardboard with this? And we even have a couple of our enhancement classes that are even creating their own breakout EDU games with the Google Cardboard and the Street View apps. So they're very excited with that. I've actually just, thanks to our district, my superintendent, I'm writing a grant. I would encourage any of you that are like, how can I get my hands on some of this tech? I am writing a grant, wrote it already, but trying to get 30 iPods and to get more cardboard so that we can have like a set for the school. Then you can take them with your foreign language classes and your history classes, and you can really start hitting the whole school instead of just like 1 or 2 days of expeditions coming to visit. And in the process of developing, we're in the process of developing like discourse questions. So I'm working with coaches in the building. Like once we get these devices and expeditions becomes public, like how can we connect these to Common Core, and how can we support our teachers to really use this engaging technology in a way that is going to push kids further with their learning and all that good stuff. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and see if anybody has any questions.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Jess. It's really great to see it broken down into how you can actually plan this in your classroom. And it was really exciting to think of, as a teacher, how can you start thinking of being the tour guide? What are some prompting questions you can ask? Is there, and the follow-up? So I know that that's all things that teachers are thinking about with this new exciting tool. And it was great to see that you're already contemplating how students can get involved, whether they become the tour guide, whether they can start creating their own photospheres and their own tours of their own backyard and beyond. So really exciting to start having that conversation. If you're in the back channel, if you have any questions or ideas, there's some really great ideas about where to get started. I know, Ari, Jess, you shared some places that you can go to get things. The Street View app, somebody on the chat wasn't able to find the Street View app. It's just called Street View app. Is that right?
Yeah, it's through Android and iOS, so you should be able to find it. And that picture in the slides that I was showing is the same little icon. I'll help you.
Awesome.
And then, actually, too, I just saw this on Twitter today, and I tweeted it out, and I'll actually put the link in the back channel. Google has come out with a cardboard camera app exclusively for Android phones, where it will help you go through and make your own photosphere, but it'll also help you add music. So if you're doing something very specific and you want to add narration to your photosphere, you now will be able to do that with the official cardboard camera app, and I'll pop that into the back channel for you all.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. I think that's what's so exciting about this field with virtual and augmented reality is that we're kind of building it with teachers like you guys, the pioneers. Like, you're coming up with the ways that this can get used, and every day it seems like a new use case or a new app is coming out for it. So it's definitely the forefront of trying some really cutting edge stuff in the classroom. We did have a couple questions. Mike just asked, is there a special camera for us to make our own expedition of our city? And Jess, you just alluded to it, but did you want to share a little bit more about the Ricoh Theta or other devices that are easy for folks to capture these photospheres?
Sorry, I was muted for a second.
No problem.
Well, basically, right now with our students, before we got the Ricoh Theta, I've been telling kids to download the Street View app so that they can take their own 360-degree photos. But I just ordered, thankfully we have just this beautiful tech budget right now, but I downloaded, it's called the Ricoh Theta S, and there's also the original Ricoh. But basically it's just a camera, it's like, fits in the palm of your hands, and you can just snap it and take a 360-degree picture instantaneously. It connects to your iPhone or to your mobile device, your smartphone, and you can view the pictures and then upload them to Twitter, to Google+. There's a lot of different ways. I'll be happy if you hit me up on Twitter, Google Hangouts. I can help you guys propel you forward that way.
Awesome. And Frank mentioned that having you guys as pioneers is so nice because you guys can also help other pioneers that are starting to do this. So we thank you guys for being leaders with this new technology for sure, and it really points to having a personal learning network and how powerful that can be. A couple of other questions, maybe Joel, this one can be for you. Someone shared Google Cultural Institute and the 360-degree video photos in there that you can go around. Someone was wondering if we can explain maybe the difference between the Expeditions platform that's being piloted and maybe the difference between that and the Treks somebody mentioned, and then also Google Cultural Institute has these learning opportunities too. Joel, maybe you can explain what the Expeditions app actually is and how that relates to some of these other 360 offerings that you can get.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably really good to clarify this. So, as mentioned before, so Expeditions builds on top of the Cardboard platform. So the Cardboard platform is available on iOS devices or Android devices, and it can be used to, as mentioned before, we've got a new app where you can create your own photospheres. So you can also, in relation to Street View, Treks, and so forth, all that content can be viewed via the Cardboard app. The difference here with Expeditions you get a teacher app in addition to the existing content. So with the teacher app, it allows you to pause and have notes within that app. So the difference here is that Expeditions allows you for the management of the Cardboard devices or the Android devices. compared to standard cardboard where you don't have any of the teacher functionality. So when it comes to Expeditions, in the Expeditions app, we have specific content for that and the ability to manage that content. So pause, ask questions, and so forth.
Oh, very cool. That's really helpful, Joel. I put up on the screen. So basically, if someone wants to get started now while they're waiting to hear back from the Pioneer program or waiting to see as the program develops, folks can get started today with getting a cardboard very easily and having a phone on hand and starting to download some of these free apps and explore some of these free resources that are already out there. Is that a good way to explain that, Joel?
Yeah, exactly. So that's all available right now before Expeditions come to your school. You can download the Cardboard app and go through the places as you're showing here.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Ari and Jess, do you have any other apps that you recommend while folks are waiting for Expeditions or the Pioneer program to come to their school as kind of a training wheels to get their feet wet in the classroom?
Jess already said it, but I'll definitely reiterate on the Street View. It's amazing just because you can type in any address, and if Google has a Street View image, you're there and ready to go. Also, too, with the Street View on their landing page, and actually, let's see if I can pull it up and kind of hold it up to my web camera, it'll show you a bunch of different places that you can go automatically. So let's see here. Here's my Street View app. Let's see how this works. There we go. So it might be a little hard to see.
There we go. Yeah, I think we see the Explore function. Very cool.
So now you can see there's a map, and all those little red dots are things that you can click to go see something with your Google Cardboard. And then down on the bottom half of the screen, it's going to start to show just, oh, let's see. Here we go. There we go. So I can go ahead and I can click on this image. And then let's see, where is it going to take us? There we go. So now it's going to show me the hopefully if it loads. Usually, once it loads, up here in the corner of the screen, there's going to be a cardboard logo, and you'd click on the cardboard logo, and then you'd be able to put it into your viewer, and you'd be able to go ahead and experience it. And just kind of something fun that I did is before my husband really understood what Google Cardboard was, is I typed up his home address because he's from Maine and we now live in California. So I typed up the address of his childhood home and I said, here, look at this, you got to see this. And he about cried because he was just like, oh my gosh, it's home. So that was just a really cool, fun experience for us. And it's kind of great because if you have a population of students that they used to live somewhere else, they used to live in a different country, you can use this to give them a piece of home, which I think is really fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks
That's
for
a really good one, Ari, because I was going to show you was the roller coaster app.
That one's great too. You could totally.
That's if you want to make your students nauseous. No, I'm kidding. Yours is all like sentimental. Mine is completely. I put it in the back channel. It's called Fib Run, but if you want kids to like just go bonkers for a hot second, there's always the roller coaster 3D you can put in the cardboard, which is always fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin, for sharing just little things that people can do while they wait to hear more about the Expedition program. But like Joel said, it sounds like it's going to be great for teachers now to just get their feet wet with some of these apps and then to have that more teacher capability with Expeditions to be able to guide their students and scaffold their experience a bit. So it'll be really exciting to see that. I wanted to share quickly from this is Molly Schrader and our team. I'll put this link in the back channel, but she's got a great presentation for just other cardboard apps that you can use and different ways to do exactly what Jess and Ari just mentioned for just starting to play around with virtual reality on your phone and with cardboards. So I'll drop that in the chat. And then keep your questions coming about devices, about apps, about Expeditions and how you can get involved. We'll get to those in just a minute. Ari, do you want to maybe dig into RUSD and a little bit more about how your expedition went with the Pioneer program now that Jess has shared how Manchester's done it and kind of framed it in that, you know, getting acquainted with the app, trying it out, and then, you know, enhancing your student learning with it. We'd love to hear about RUSD's experience.
Yeah, so I work at the district office as a staff development specialist. So my experience with Google Expeditions is a little bit different because I was able to go to the 4 different school sites that hosted the Expeditions Pioneer program, and I was there to see 4 different schools participate, which was really fantastic. And as the staff development specialist, I made sure that I was there to help everything runs smoothly, but really the Pioneer program did it a whole lot without me. I was able to just help support the teachers and help them have fun with the program, which was really fantastic. I saw some teachers that they decided, they were doing a full day extravaganza of Google Expeditions. So during the first hour of the day, some students were making paper shark hats for art, and then the next session they were going to science, and they were learning about the different parts of a shark, and then they'd go to the humanities room where they got to use the Google Cardboard and go swimming with sharks, and then they'd go to a history session, and they would talk about, what's the history of, the perception of sharks in America. So that was a really cool experience to see a school embrace Google Cardboard and embrace the experience and make it an all-day adventure for their kids. I also saw some teachers where it was just a part of their day where they're like, okay, this is, we're going to start our unit on biomes tomorrow, but before we do that, let's go visit a biome or go visit the biomes, which was really great. So it worked as a really wonderful opener to a unit. I also saw teachers use it as an ending to a unit, and they were like, okay, we just went over, Islamic traditions and Islamic religion. Let's go ahead and visit the mosque and see what it actually looks like in 3D instead of just on the paper. And what I also liked is different teachers did it different ways, but they would create travel journals for the students. So some did it via a Google Slides, some did it via a Google Doc, but in between photospheres, the teacher would pause, which meant the cardboard would go black and the students couldn't see anything. So they knew that that was the time to put it down on the desk. And the students would write what they saw, what they think they would have heard had they been there for real, and kind of just did a quick little reflection about each photosphere before they went to the next one. So that way, at the end, when they were when they were done with the expedition, they were able to go back and review their notes and write a full-fledged reflection. And it was also cool to see the students that did it via Google Slides because after they were done, they went back and they looked up like, oh, we saw a great white shark. I'm going to go find a picture of a great white shark and add it to my travel journal, which was really fun. And I can only imagine if you did, a Google expedition a month with your kids, like at the end of the school year, what an amazing travel journal they'd have.
That's really awesome, Ari. And I think you mentioning how you could use things like Google Apps to kind of root or anchor the lesson, that's really exciting to think. And how you mentioned that, it could go from as all-encompassing as full day to really just being a seamless part and another tool or another thing in your toolkit for as a teacher to put as an opener or an ender. Jess, do you have any examples of kind of how it can fit in different ways to the curriculum after you saw it? And I think that's a really important thing to think of entry levels for a teacher, that you can kind of choose how it gets used in the classroom to fit your own teaching practice and your own style. I'd love to hear a little bit about how that might look at Manchester.
Well, one thing that really kind of knocked my socks off was the fact that obviously I loved what Ari said about everything. What really kind of threw me for a loop was the fact that they had expeditions that had days in the life of certain careers, which I just was like, that's amazing. For a kid that might want to be a firefighter one day or wants to be a maker or whatever, what does that look like behind the scenes? So I saw that as an opportunity, wow, we can show our kids that are looking, when you ask a 9th grader what they want to be when they grow up or what they're interested in, how do they really know that they want to do these things? If you could take them on a virtual field trip to wherever, a medical field kind of a place, well, how wonderful that would be for them. So I feel like that to me kind of blew my mind. Taking them, and what I love too is it doesn't matter if you take them to the Coliseum. Even if you showed them the Coliseum, they'd be like, whoa, I want to learn more about that now. So you I think of it kind of like a buffet. Expeditions can be like a buffet where you take kids to the buffet and then they might find an expedition like going to the moon that really tickles their fancy or whatever the case may be, and then they might want to learn more about that too. So I like the exploratory kind of feel of that expeditions can kind of bring, but I also like what Ari said and how you can really tailor it down to making it a specific, let's stop, let's write, let's do a travel journal at the end of the year and talk about all the different expeditions you went on. So the possibilities are pretty much endless, and it's such a wonderful tool. We're so lucky to have had it.
And it's really cool. I love thinking about, like you said, the behind the scenes. A lot of teachers I've talked to think that maybe it's just geography or social studies, but it really can, I think we're going to start seeing in the next year or so, just especially once students and teachers can create easily as well. Even seeing things like scenarios or, things that you can choose your way through things and putting yourself in someone's shoes, even if that means, seeing what it might look like behind the scenes of somewhere.
So if I'm wrong, but I think, or you can tell me, did you happen to see there was an expedition that had like the day of a life in school for like another country, so kids could compare how their day of school is different to a person in like a third world country? Maybe I'm hallucinating that, but I thought that would be a really great expedition. But like just so kids can see like there's life. Sometimes it's hard for kids to, that experience really makes it more applicable. They get the feels, so to say, and they can move forward and learn better.
Oh, the Google Expeditions Day was a major feels day. We had to bring some tissues into the classroom, not because people were sad, but just because people were so overcome with emotions. One of my favorite moments was, we're looking at I think one of the ocean settings, and a student kind of takes the viewer off, and he looks at me, and he's like, "This is my first time going to the beach. This is amazing," and I was just like, I'm so happy for you. Like, this is wonderful. Like, yes, let's go to another beach. Let's see all of the beaches because we can. And, where I work, many of the students are considered Title I, which is our high impoverished students. And so many of them don't ever leave the city. And we're blessed being in Southern California that where we are is pretty much an hour away to snow, an hour away to the beach, an hour away to the very, very much desert. But students don't always get to see that. So to be able to hand them a piece of cardboard with some technology in it and getting them out to the world is just so phenomenal and just so wonderful, because being able to help them gain that cultural capital will be so useful to them in their futures.
The kids that don't talk start talking and go, why don't we do this every day? And like one of our girls that never speaks is like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm like, wow.
Oh, wow. You guys, that's super special to hear, just all the different, impact of using this in the classroom as well. I did have a couple of questions that are coming up about, one, somebody just shared like even the possibilities of involving literature, but tying in Google Lit Trips, if anyone's seen that before. And what's really nice is basically anything that's you've already played with on a map. Google Maps and Google Earth has been around for a while, and so there's already such great tools and experiences with that. But now you're amplifying it by, bringing it in this three-dimensional virtual world. So I think we're really going to start to see some of those come to light in a cardboard experience as well.
And actually, to touch on the literature, one of my favorite Google expeditions that I was able to experience was the literary London trip. And you get taken around to the Globe Theatre, platform 9 3/4. You get to go to Sherlock's house. So, and for me, that was especially fun because I studied abroad in London, so I got to experience.
Someone wasn't ready when I was doing it. I'm jealous. Ari.
I'm sorry. It was amazing. So like we said, the possibilities are endless, and it's kind of if you can take a photosphere of it, you can do it.
Awesome. Well, what do you guys think about where people can go to get more information? Like somebody Marge asked, where can you see a list of current expeditions? I know it's in pilot phase now with the Pioneer program, but I think folks are interested in thinking what the options are, what they will be, and even is there a community if available online where folks can start to share best practices, ideas, resources? What do you guys think about that? One, where can they get more information about, obviously, the expedition site, shows some really great examples if you want to see what it looks like so far. Any ideas about best places to go to get information? And is there a community, or should we be thinking about making one, or putting a place where folks can go to talk to each other? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I just want to comment that this is also new for us at Google as well. This is all a pioneer program, so it's all a pilot at the moment, and we are creating content on the fly. We are actually working with specific partners as well, like the David Attenborough Society, the American Museum of Natural History, Planetary Society. So we are working currently with some partners to create more and more content. But the others, if you want to, is there any communities that you guys are currently active in?
Sure, there could be a Google Plus community. Can we start one of those?
Yeah, I think you guys just got signed up to do it. So.
Yay! Good.
All right, Jess,
we'll get on that
when this is over.
Which is great, because that can be a place to start to put all of these links and resources and questions as well, and even just thinking of lesson plans and you know, of what even like a field trip journal template, all that stuff is all really awesome. So having a place to start would be really cool. Particularly with devices, there's a few questions popping up, you guys, about you know, how do you get, so for you two, did you already have a class set of phones and cardboard, or was that part of the Pioneer program, or what can we tell folks about? I mean, obviously right now you could just use your phone as a teacher and get cardboard. There's a couple of different sites that people have been sharing to either purchase cardboard or 3D print it, have your kids make it. There's a lot of ways to do it, but at scale and times 30, can you guys share a little bit of how that looked like, getting the devices, managing them, and all that?
When the Pioneer program comes to your school, they provide the kits, so it comes with a tablet. They unfortunately don't let you keep the tablets and everything else in between. But right now, like I said earlier, like I bought like a classroom set of the cardboards, but you can make them. I know Donnie Piercy, another Google expert guy, he made them out of pizza boxes with his students. There's a ton of information online about that. But to get the money for like the actual devices, I just wrote a grant and I'm sitting on it right now, hopefully with fingers crossed. But there's a lot of, I mean, GoFundMe pages, like, get on that. Like, let's do that.
Donors choose. Has anyone seen, I don't know, Joel, if you've seen, like, bring your own devices out in Australia, or what are some other ideas you have for empowering students and teachers to get the devices?
Yeah. So specifically for the Pioneer program, everything's provided for you. So basically, they come to your school with all the devices, with all the cardboards and everything ready for you. So there's nothing you really have to worry about other than signing up and making sure that students are ready to undergo one of the expeditions. In relation to getting started, regardless of expeditions, in relation to getting started with Google Cardboard, we had actually a couple of schools in Australia where one of their classes was to literally create the cardboards. So they'd go buy actual sheets of cardboard. You can download the instructions for free online. And the teacher bought the little lenses for the cardboard. I think they're about $7 each. And then he had the students actually create the cardboards for the expedition as kind of another side project. So that was I thought a very engaging way to get students to create the cardboards themselves, and then obviously take them on an expedition. But if you do sign up for the Pioneer program, you don't have to worry about anything other than signing up and being there, because all the kits come pre-assembled, ready to use. And unfortunately, yes, you can't actually keep the devices or the cardboards from the kids, because they obviously shared between schools.
Jess or Ari, about any other ideas about, you know, I'm wondering, like, if anyone's tried doing, you know, just having the different phones come in and, you know, in high schools or something with bring your own device, or what are your thoughts about that? Any other examples?
I think they've been, I think they've been said. Kind of tapped out.
No, sure.
I was reading the back channel, you caught me.
No, well, hopefully we can keep sharing more links about, I guess the first step would be try to get into the Pioneer program. And with that, Joel, there was quite a few questions. Quite a few people have applied, it sounds like, in the back channel. using, again, if you've caught on later than when we began, google.com/edu/expeditions is your kind of home base for information. So it sounds like some people have already signed up, just like Ari and Jess have. Can you tell Joel a little bit about folks what they can expect after they sign up? Somebody asked, is there an order of states or provinces in the countries that you'll be going to? When might they hear back about if they've been chosen?
That's a great question. So when you use the sign-up form, it basically fills out a form, and then one of our team members will get back to you within about a week in relation to scheduling and so forth. If that hasn't happened, Wendy, what we can do is basically collect the list from people who have signed up and not heard anything back, and then we can, after this hangout, we can go and kind of chase up on those things. Because basically you sign up via the form, and then a team member of ours will reach out to you within about a week in relation to scheduling.
Awesome, Joel. Cool. So if you have and you're on the back channel, go ahead and throw, you could throw your email in there and we'll follow up with you as well. We'll also send this archive out to everyone who signed up. So if you didn't sign up yet, bit.ly/EdTechTeam sign in. Make sure, and then we'll choose after we end the hangout who to give our lovely cardboard to, so you can try this at home. But great, that's really great to hear about how that you will be following up and that the program's pretty responsive. So cool. Sylvia has also shared some other cardboard communities here that you can check out. Looks like just Google Cardboard, search in Google+. But hopefully we can maybe start an expedition-based one if there isn't one, or join an existing one that we have. Awesome, Claudia. We'll make sure to follow up with you in Kentucky as well. Cool. And then there's Sylvia. Sylvia, you got to sign up on the form. Sylvia wants you to come to Toronto, Joel. So, great. Guys, if you have any other questions, we have a few minutes left, so I'm just going to roll on through. And look, Hogan has asked if something like iPods or phones aren't affordable, is there any other devices like a prepaid phone or something cheaper? Is there any more affordable devices anyone can recommend?
Yeah, so I can just kind of clarify here. So as long as the device can run Google Cardboard, it would be compatible with Google Expeditions. So as I mentioned before, it runs on iOS devices or Android devices. So any phone that can run the Cardboard app theoretically could work with Expeditions. There's no technical reason why it wouldn't be able to work there. As I said, this is still a pilot program. We're still working out how we're going to get these to schools in the bigger picture of things. At the moment, we're basically just doing this pilot program to create awareness and get feedback from what you guys like and what you guys don't like, and then kind of build the product from there. So this is still a pilot program. So the most common question was like, how do I get these, or when can I get these? I don't have a great answer for you yet because we're still learning through this process. So it's kind of still to be determined there.
Cool. Thanks, Joel. And I think, would it be safe to say that the actual, once it gets out of Pioneer, is that the idea is that Expeditions will be available as a downloadable app once you guys are finished taking all the feedback from teachers like Jess and Ari and shaping a really great product to release to folks? So is that something?
That's the thinking at the moment. So yeah, we're still gathering all the feedback. The most common feedback that I've heard is, one, how can we create our own content? How can we create our own expeditions? How can we tie this to curriculum? They're like the two big feedbacks that we get. And the other one was, how do we get these devices and when? So that's all the feedback we've heard, and we're still kind of working on an answer to all of that.
Totally, which is so exciting that doing this in a pilot way has been really great to a lot of Google Apps has done that and helped shape things like Google Classroom and other products. So I know as an educator, we always appreciate these opportunities. And all of you guys on the Hangout and the back channel, you're helping shape it right now just by sharing resources and ideas and being a part of this community. So thanks to everyone for sharing it there. Go ahead and throw in any final questions we have. It sounds like some people, they might not be in your area or countries yet, but as Joel mentioned, it's growing, and the big goal is that it will be available for everyone. So in the meantime, though, hopefully there's plenty of ways that you can still explore with cardboard. Again, you can still get cardboard and still get, use Trex and photospheres. You're just not getting that full functionality that Jess and Ari were able to try out with the Pioneer program, but you could still try it out and give your feedback to what this Expeditions app could look like. So even if you're not part of Pioneer yet, hopefully you can join the community and share that as well. Marge asked, can kids eventually add interactivity to it? So like the pausing or the, do you see that functionality coming to it? Kids or teachers creating an expedition?
Yeah, like this is the exact feedback that we need. I've heard that myself, like basically allowing students to have interaction with the thing. So maybe they go on an expedition about history and they see a soldier, and then they can kind of go to the soldier, and the soldier would speak to them about specific events happening at that place. So this is all great new thinking. As I said, this is all new to us as well. So we're still learning on the go. But yeah, please keep the feedback coming, because this is exactly what we need to hear.
Something I saw in the back channel was about using this with iPads. So right now, most of the cardboard viewers are about this big. I saw somewhere, I can't remember where, but somewhere online, someone was 3D printing them for the Nexus 7 tablets. But right now, there isn't a really big market solution to have something that is tablet size. Also, too, you got to remember, we have tiny little kid hands trying to hold this to their face. So an iPad might be a little too big.
Yeah, I should also mention there's the product team have been thinking about this as well. Obviously, not everyone can have cardboard viewers. So there is the ability to basically, we call it magic window, to use a tablet of some sort and do the same thing, but you just wouldn't be wearing it. So it wouldn't kind of be over your eyes. You just kind of hold it up and you'd be able to still do the street view. With the current kits, if the Pioneer programs come to your school, you actually do have the ability to take the phone out of the cardboard. If you touch it with 2 fingers, it will go back to a non-3D view, and you can kind of view it normally. So our product team obviously aware that a lot of school districts have iPads or tablet devices as well. So that's kind of a way to experience expeditions in that sense. We've been calling it Magic Window.
That helps with some of the kids during the 3D experience. Some of them were getting nauseous and stuff like that, so we would just double tap the screen, and then they could still see the expedition in the photosphere without the effect of that making them sick.
Totally. Cool, guys. All really, really great examples. It looks like we've got to most of the questions on the back channel, so if you had any others, drop them in. And some really great ideas. Sandra mentioned incorporating expeditions with coding. So there's so much still there, and this is just the beginning, everybody. So really excited that all of you are so excited to try this in the classroom as well. I wanted to thank our awesome presenters today. Again, you can get in touch with them. I've got their Twitter handles here, but thanks again to Jess joining us from Connecticut. Thank you to Ari from Riverside, California. Thanks to Joel in Mountain View. We really appreciated you guys all taking the time today to join us and to share this Pioneer program with everyone. If you're just about to leave, again, don't forget to go to the website, google.com/edu/expeditions, and sign up. And like Joel said, you should hear back from the team one way or another if it's in your area, if it's not. And we'll go ahead and send everybody who signed up this archive of this video, links to some of the resources from the back channel chat. And we'll also follow up if you put your email on not having heard back. We'll follow up with Joel and make sure that you hear back one way or another about the program. But thanks so much again, Ari, Joel, and Jess. Really appreciated it. Yay, round of applause.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. And hopefully you got all their Twitter IDs to stay in touch. And hopefully we see you in the online communities out there to continue to share these resources. Have a great time exploring, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.